Well, I had bad plastic surgery.
Hollywood's biggest stars tried to look perfect, but plastic surgery turned into their worst mistake. Faces changed, careers suffered. Watch till the end to see the biggest regrets. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson didn't just change music, he changed pop culture forever. But while the world saw a superstar, Michael saw something very different when he looked in the mirror. As a young man, Michael had strong African-American features, a wide nose, natural skin tone, and a face shaped by his heritage. But growing up in the spotlight was not kind to him. From a young age, Michael faced constant criticism about his looks, his skin, even his nose. His own father reportedly mocked him, planting seeds of insecurity that would grow darker with time. Michael had his first nose surgery after breaking it during a dance rehearsal. He claimed it was for breathing problems, but that surgery opened the door to many more. Over the years, his nose became thinner, then smaller, then dangerously fragile. Surgeons later revealed that much of the cartilage had collapsed, requiring reconstruction. His jaw became sharper, his chin changed, his skin grew lighter, surrounded by endless speculation. Michael insisted he only had a few surgeries, but doctors and experts believed the number was much higher. By the final years of his life, his face no longer resembled the young man who once sang with the Jackson 5. Friends say Michael wasn't chasing beauty. He was chasing acceptance. Acceptance from an industry that never let him be human. Acceptance from a world that never stopped watching. Behind the masks, gloves, and sunglasses was a man deeply wounded by fame. Michael's transformation became one of the most tragic examples of what happens when childhood trauma meets unlimited money and endless pressure. Madonna. Madonna built her empire by breaking rules. She challenged religion.
Religion is an idea that someone pushes on you. Religion is judgment.
She challenged gender roles. She challenged society itself. But there was one thing Madonna couldn't fight forever: time. As she aged, the industry that once praised her began to whisper. Headlines shifted. The focus moved from her music to her appearance. Fans noticed changes slowly at first. Plumper cheeks, tighter skin, expressions that looked frozen. Fillers altered her face shape, making her almost unrecognizable in some appearances. Award shows sparked viral reactions. Social media exploded with comparisons. Why doesn't she look like Madonna anymore? Madonna never openly detailed every procedure, but over time she appeared to reduce the fillers, possibly realizing the damage. Her story shows a painful truth. Even women who rewrite history are not allowed to age peacefully in Hollywood. Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan was once the face of romance. In the 1990s, she wasn't just an actress, she was a feeling. Her smile felt warm, effortless, and real. It made audiences believe in love again and again. Movies like When Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, and You've Got Mail turned her into America's sweetheart. She didn't look perfect, and that's exactly why people loved her. But Hollywood doesn't reward natural beauty for long. As the years passed, the pressure quietly crept in. New actresses arrived. Younger faces filled the screen, and slowly, the message became clear: stay young or disappear. Then something changed. Meg began appearing with altered features. Fillers softened her face too much. Her cheeks looked swollen. Her smile, once her signature, no longer moved the same way. It wasn't dramatic overnight. It was subtle at first, but audiences noticed. Casting directors noticed too. Romantic roles stopped coming. Scripts dried up. Invitations to premieres and award shows faded away. Meg became more private. Public appearances grew rare. Later, she spoke honestly about how much she hated Hollywood's obsession with looks, how cruel and shallow it could be. Hollywood loved her face until it changed. And once it did, Hollywood didn't attack her. It did something worse. It quietly walked away. Renee Zellweger. Renee Zellweger had a face that felt real. Her squint, her expressions, her slightly imperfect features. They made her different and unforgettable. She didn't look like everyone else, and that was her power. Her performances felt human, authentic, honest. Then Renee took a break from Hollywood. When she returned, the internet exploded. Fans barely recognized her. Her eyes looked different. Her face looked smoother. The familiar squint that defined her expressions was gone. Social media didn't talk about her acting. It didn't talk about her talent. It talked about her face. Renee denied major surgery, but plastic surgeons and experts pointed to eyelid procedures and fillers. The reaction was brutal. Instead of praising her work, Hollywood turned her into a headline. Late-night jokes followed. Endless comparisons flooded the internet. Here's the cruel irony. She wasn't punished for aging. She was punished for changing. Hollywood demands youth, but only in a very specific way. Change too little, you're old. Change too much, you're unrecognizable. Renee stepped back again. It took years before her career recovered, proving a painful truth. In Hollywood, there is no winning, only surviving. Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman has always been admired for her elegance. She carried herself with grace. Her performances were emotional, intense, and expressive. Then fans started noticing something strange. Her face barely moved. Her forehead looked stiff. Her expressions felt frozen. Emotional scenes didn't land the same way. Rumors spread fast. Botox, fillers, cosmetic tweaks. For years, Nicole avoided the topic. Like many stars, silence felt safer than honesty. But eventually, she admitted the truth. She had tried Botox, and she regretted it. She said it affected her ability to act. Her expressions didn't feel like her own anymore. So she stopped. Slowly, her natural movements returned. Her face softened again. Her performances regained their emotional depth. Nicole's honesty stood out in an industry built on denial. Few stars admit regret. Fewer admit mistakes. Her story reminds us, even when surgery works, it can still cost something priceless: authentic expression. Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner didn't grow up famous. She grew up watched. From her teenage years, every photo, every angle, every change to her face was analyzed, discussed, and judged. At first, she denied everything, especially her lips. She blamed makeup. She blamed overlining. She blamed puberty. Eventually, she admitted to lip fillers, but experts believe her transformation went far beyond that. Jawline reshaping gave her a sharper profile. Cheek fillers created a sculpted face. Eye and brow lifts changed the shape of her eyes. Kylie didn't just change herself, she changed beauty standards. Her look became the blueprint. An entire generation tried to copy it. Young girls compared themselves to a face that wasn't natural and didn't even exist before surgery. Ironically, Kylie later admitted she wished she had never touched her lips in the first place. Her story isn't just about cosmetic surgery. It's about what happens when insecurity meets fame, money, and a world that never stops watching. Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke was once one of Hollywood's most desired actors. In the 1980s, he had it all: talent, confidence, and a face audiences couldn't look away from. Studios saw him as the next big leading man. His career was rising fast. But Mickey walked away from Hollywood. He turned to professional boxing. The sport took a brutal toll on his face. Broken bones, severe injuries, permanent damage. To fix the damage, Mickey turned to plastic surgery. Bad surgery. Not once, but again and again. The procedures went wrong. His facial structure changed. His features became uneven and distorted. Each attempt to fix the problem only made it worse. Later, Mickey admitted the truth. He chose the wrong surgeon. He trusted the wrong hands. By the time the damage was clear, it was already permanent. When he returned to Hollywood, the roles were gone. Leading man offers vanished. Romantic roles disappeared. He became known not for his talent, but for his face. Mickey's story is one of the most painful examples in Hollywood history. One bad decision, one wrong doctor, and everything he once had was gone. Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers never pretended she was natural. She talked openly about plastic surgery. She joked about it on stage. She made it part of her brand. For decades, Joan used humor to hide the truth. Hollywood terrified her. As she aged, the pressure grew stronger. Television favors youth, comedy favors relevance, and Joan refused to disappear. So she kept going. Facelifts, eye work, fillers, tightening, stretching. Over time, the procedures began to show. Her skin looked pulled. Her face lost its natural shape. Even Joan admitted it. She openly said she went too far, but her honesty did something powerful. She started a conversation about addiction, not to fame, but to cosmetic perfection. Her story shows how easily just one more procedure can become a lifelong cycle. Laughing on the outside, struggling on the inside. Lara Flynn Boyle. Lara Flynn Boyle was once everywhere. She was a rising star, talented, mysterious, and admired. Hollywood had plans for her. Then her appearance began to change. Overfilled lips, altered facial structure, features that no longer looked natural. The transformation shocked fans, but Hollywood didn't criticize loudly. It did something colder. It stopped calling. Roles dried up. Invitations disappeared. The spotlight moved on. There were no headlines defending her. No comeback stories. Just silence. Lara's story is one of Hollywood's quiet tragedies, where a career doesn't crash loudly but fades away slowly, unnoticed. Donatella Versace. Donatella Versace didn't just represent fashion, she was fashion. For decades, her face became as recognizable as the Versace logo itself. Blonde hair, bold makeup, glamorous outfits. Donatella wasn't just running a luxury brand, she was the living symbol of it. When her brother Gianni Versace was tragically murdered in 1997, Donatella was suddenly pushed into the spotlight. Overnight, she became the head of one of the most powerful fashion houses in the world, and the pressure was unbearable. Every public appearance mattered, every photo was analyzed, every wrinkle was judged. Unlike movie stars who disappear between projects, Donatella lived permanently in public view. Fashion weeks, red carpets, magazine covers, high-profile events. There was no escape. Over time, her face began to change. First, subtle tweaks, then fillers, then tighter skin, then more dramatic procedures. Her lips became fuller, her cheeks more pronounced, her skin stretched tight, almost mask-like. Eventually, the transformation became impossible to ignore. People stopped talking about Versace collections and started talking about her face. The irony was painful. The woman behind one of the world's most beautiful, luxurious, and elegant brands became a global symbol of cosmetic excess. Instead of representing timeless beauty, she became a warning about what happens when perfection is chased too aggressively. But Donatella's story isn't about vanity. It's about identity. She wasn't just aging as a woman, she was aging as a brand. In her world, looking powerful, youthful, and flawless wasn't optional. It was part of the job. Fashion doesn't forgive age. Fashion doesn't allow weakness. Fashion doesn't pause. And Donatella carried that weight alone. Each procedure seemed less about looking younger and more about holding on to control in an industry that replaces people quickly and brutally. Her face tells a story of pressure. Pressure to stay relevant, pressure to remain iconic, pressure to embody luxury every single day. Today, Donatella remains one of the most influential women in fashion history. She survived tragedy, criticism, and relentless public judgment. But her transformation stands as a reminder. When beauty becomes your identity, aging can feel like losing yourself. And once you start fighting time, not even power, money, or fame can tell you when to stop. Pamela Anderson. Pamela Anderson was more than a sex symbol. She was a cultural moment, but that image became a cage. To maintain it, Pamela went through years of cosmetic changes. Breast implants, removals, fillers, reversals. each change driven by pressure from the industry, the media, and public expectation. Over time, she realized the image was costing her peace. In recent years, Pamela made a radical decision. She stepped away from heavy makeup. She embraced aging naturally.
Other makeup artists have done my makeup and, just something just doesn't quite go right.
She rejected Hollywood's beauty rules. Her message became simple and powerful. Beauty shouldn't hurt, and it shouldn't trap you. Pamela's story isn't about failure, it's about freedom. Cher has never lived by anyone else's rules. From the very beginning of her career, she did things her own way. She dressed differently. She spoke honestly. And when it came to plastic surgery, she never hid it. Cher believed in choice. She openly said that if she wanted to change her face, it was her decision and no one else's business. Over the decades, Cher admitted to having multiple cosmetic procedures. Some worked well, others were less subtle. As time passed, the changes became more visible. Her face told a long story, a story of decades spent under bright lights, a story of fighting an industry that refuses to let women age, a story of constantly being compared to her younger self. Despite everything, Cher remains iconic. Her voice, her presence, and her influence are undeniable. But her face also reflects the cost of that battle. Not failure, not shame, just the reality of spending a lifetime trying to outrun time itself. Courtney Cox. Courtney Cox became famous as one of the most recognizable faces on television. For years, fans watched her grow, age, and evolve on screen. Then suddenly, something felt off. Her face looked tighter. Her expressions looked unnatural. The warmth people recognized seemed hidden behind fillers and Botox. Fans were shocked, but what made Courtney different from many celebrities was what she did next. She admitted it. She openly said she had gone too far. She admitted she didn't recognize herself anymore.
My lipstick I've worn for years. I don't ever change it. Do you care this much? I'm really going into it.
So she made a decision. She dissolved the fillers. She stepped back from cosmetic procedures. Her honesty resonated deeply with fans, especially women who felt the same pressure to stay young. Courtney's story shows that sometimes the hardest thing isn't admitting regret, it's choosing to stop. Jennifer Grey. Jennifer Grey became famous almost overnight. Her role in Dirty Dancing made her a star, and her face became instantly recognizable, especially her nose. It wasn't perfect by Hollywood standards, and that's exactly why it worked. But after her rise to fame, Jennifer made a decision she thought would help her career. She got a nose job. The surgery technically went well, but something unexpected happened. She became unrecognizable. Casting directors didn't know who she was. Fans didn't recognize her face. The roles stopped coming. Jennifer later described it perfectly. I went into the operating room a celebrity and came out anonymous. One surgery erased the thing that made her unforgettable. Her story is one of Hollywood's most painful lessons. Sometimes, what the industry calls a flaw is actually your identity. Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell built a career on judging others, but when it came to his own appearance, even he fell into the trap. Over time, fans noticed dramatic changes to his face, heavy fillers, frozen expressions, a look that shocked the internet. Unlike many celebrities, Simon didn't deny it. He admitted it. He openly said he went too far and that he regretted it. His honesty sparked a rare conversation about cosmetic pressure on men. Hollywood often talks about women and beauty standards, but men face the same fear of aging, the same pressure to stay relevant. Simon's admission helped break the silence. His story proves that cosmetic regret doesn't care about gender, it only cares about pressure. Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan was once Hollywood's golden child. She grew up in front of the camera, starring in massive hits like The Parent Trap, Mean Girls, and Freaky Friday. Millions watched her grow from a cute child star into a young woman almost overnight. And that's where the pressure began. By her early 20s, Lindsay's face started to change. Fans noticed fuller lips, altered cheeks, and a sharper jawline. Some changes were subtle, others were impossible to ignore. Fillers, cosmetic tweaks, and possible surgical procedures slowly transformed her natural look into something unfamiliar. But Lindsay's transformation wasn't just about vanity. She was dealing with extreme fame, constant paparazzi, legal troubles, addiction struggles, and non-stop public judgment. Every bad photo was turned into a headline. Every wrinkle was mocked. Every change was analyzed frame by frame. Hollywood wasn't gentle with her. The stress, late nights, and lifestyle showed clearly on her face. Cosmetic procedures, instead of fixing the damage, sometimes made it worse. Her once youthful glow faded into a tired, overworked appearance. For years, Lindsay became a cautionary tale. Studios stopped calling, roles disappeared. The same industry that built her up watched her fall and didn't step in to help. But unlike many others, Lindsay didn't disappear forever. In recent years, she has taken a step back from Hollywood's pressure. She appears more natural, more grounded, and healthier. Whether through dissolving fillers, slowing down procedures, or simply aging naturally, her face now reflects recovery instead of chaos. Her story isn't just about plastic surgery. It's about what happens when fame comes too fast, too young, and how the pressure to look perfect can push someone to change themselves before they even know who they are. Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone built his career on toughness. Rocky, Rambo, the ultimate action hero. His face was part of his brand, rugged, masculine, and weathered by battle. But even Stallone couldn't escape Hollywood's obsession with youth. As he aged, Stallone openly admitted to using Botox and cosmetic treatments. Unlike many stars, he didn't deny it. He said he wanted to stay competitive in an industry that often replaces older actors with younger faces. The problem? Sometimes the treatments went too far. Fans noticed moments where his face looked stiff, overly smooth, or emotionally frozen. In dramatic scenes, expressions didn't land the same way. The very thing that made him powerful, his raw intensity, was softened by cosmetic work. Even action legends feel the pressure. Stallone later acknowledged that he may have overdone it. He spoke honestly about trying to balance aging with audience expectations. His openness helped normalize a conversation many men avoid. Plastic surgery isn't just a women's issue in Hollywood. Stallone's journey shows that even the strongest, most iconic men feel insecure about aging. And sometimes trying to fight time can distract from what made someone great in the first place. Today, Stallone embraces his age more openly. Wrinkles, scars, and all. Because real strength, as his story proves, isn't about looking young forever. It's about owning who you are at every stage of life. Hollywood doesn't reward aging, it fears it. Celebrities don't want surgery, they fear disappearing. And when perfection is the standard, regret becomes permanent. They weren't chasing beauty, they were chasing survival. And the price was written on their faces. Which regret hits hardest? Drop below, smash like, and subscribe for weekly bombshells. See you next time.